Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United podcast. I'm your host, TC, and I'm joined again by my co-host, Scott. Hello, Scott. You have a good time down under?
I did, thanks. Yeah, it was great to get out of town for a few weeks, and really great to go to Australia.
Fantastic.
And how are you? I know you've been dealing with a sore throat. Everything all right your end?
A little bit of a sore throat. No worries here. Top of the world as usual, but everyone will have to excuse me a little bit for my voice today. It's a little bit squeakier than usual, so there you go. On today's jam-packed show anyway, Scott, we reflect on a difficult week for Manchester United. Drop points on Sunday at Bramall Lane, 3-3 with a late goal for Sheffield United. That, coupled with a loss on the road to Kazakhstan, United's youngsters falling to a 2-1 defeat in the Europa League at Astana. Two of our rivals have also sacked their managers in the last fortnight, so we'll discuss the managerial merry-go-round, one of our ex-managers popping back up in the Premier League too. First, Scott, let's look back to the Sheffield United match. Quite the roller coaster. Not the end we wanted, though.
No, I mean, great to see some good team spirit when we were 2-0 down, but I'm sure a lot of Reds, thought that if the game had stayed 2-0, Ollie Solskjaer would have been sacked by now.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was the first 70 minutes we've been subjected to some awful performances in the last couple of years, TC, but that was, I think, the worst that we've ever seen.
I think you're right, Scott.
There was no cohesion. Didn't even seem like there was any effort. It was, as I like to say, TC, very tough to watch.
Yes, it was appalling. When the lineup came out and the obvious formation that would go with that lineup came out, it didn't fill me full of joy and confidence, I must say. It did look like a sort of back foot lineup, and the team played on the back foot too. Come on, mate, we can't be going to Sheffield United and lining up with 3 at the back, effectively 5 at the back, and then there was only 2 in midfield half the time. So our weakest part of the team, we've diminished further. It was set up for us to play on the back foot and fall 2 goals behind, wasn't it?
Awful. And I had to double and triple take when I saw Phil Jones's name on this team sheet. I didn't think he'd be playing Premier League games anymore. I think he'd be subjected to the Carabao Cup and the Europa League, but
yeah,
and you can see why he was all over the place.
He was, and he was involved in their first goal, which we'll discuss in a minute. But again, we have to go back to the point, Scott. I mean, I know I bang on this drum quite a bit, but I'm going to keep on banging on it, I'm afraid, because he's still our player. Chris Smalling, he's over in Rome. What did he score? A goal and get 2 assists?
Yeah, I think that was
on the same weekend for his birthday.
Yeah.
Apparently, Inter Milan and Juventus are also lining up to sign him now too.
Mm-hmm.
We play 3 at the back, and we've got Phil Jones starting, and then we're bringing Tuanzebe on with 10 minutes to go. Now, Chris Smalling's been our first choice, not a first choice centre back throughout the whole time, but he, over the last 6 years, has been our best centre back. So again, that decision just still boggles my mind.
Yeah, I think we were subjected to the same sort of thing last year when we sold Daley Blind and then changed to a 3 at the back and didn't have anyone to play on the left.
Yeah, that's another one that'd be useful in the 3 at the back, isn't he? Because we don't really have the players for it.
Yeah,
but like I said, I mean, we have discussed that before, the Smalling thing, and it does. Happy birthday to Chris, anyway. We started off, as we say, 3 at the back. Wan-Bissaka played right wing back, with obviously a little bit out of position, and then Brandon Williams again started on the left side of defence. Another fillip for him, and a name you've been calling for a long time, Scott. I must say that you were calling that since we started the pod, really, picking him out as a star of the youth team. So another feather in your cap there.
Yeah, I've been saying the same about Angel Gomez. I just hope that the same's going to happen with him, TC. I really do.
On Thursday, he certainly was one of the standouts.
Yeah.
But let's stick to the Sheffield United game for starters anyway. As we say, just the 2 in midfield. What do you make of that? It seemed bizarre. It seemed like, away at Sheffield United, if anything, you play your usual 4, you pack the midfield, bit of width, and you'll be laughing. It seemed bizarre to start off knowing that we'd be outnumbered against a midfield that works very hard.
Yeah, and they're a very physical bunch, and I don't think Fred and Andreas Pereira, as good as they are and as much as they've been trying, are the standout physical performers in our squad, are they?
No. Either of those guys at best would be the 3rd man in a 3-man midfield. They'd be the spare one.
Yeah.
They're not the man to unlock a defence every week, or they're not the man to protect a defence every week. They're the man to sort of float in the middle.
I think if you're being honest, it was actually a game for Nemanja Matic. I mean,
maybe
to have him on our books and not even have him go to Kazakhstan or have him anywhere near that game was a bit crazy.
Bizarre, right? Bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean, another player, add Alexis Sanchez, that we're playing for doing nothing.
Yeah.
And paying for doing nothing as well. Let's focus on the first goal anyway, Scott. We've got loads to talk about on today's show. ball over the top. Phil Jones looked at first like I'd been muscled off the ball. I must say, the first looked shoulder to shoulder to me, bang to shoulder, muscled off the ball. Sheffield United take the lead. It did go to VAR. What did you make of it? Did you think that should have been disallowed, or did you think that it was a foul on Phil Jones?
I think it was a goal.
Did you?
I think Phil Jones completely lost where the ball was and ended up on his backside. And it's for the unlucky few of us who have been watching Phil Jones the last 8 years, it's just more of the same.
Yeah.
When the VAR check came out, you sort of hope that this is going to be his way to escape, his way out of it. But we weren't that lucky.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. He does get himself in a bit of a muddle, doesn't he?
He just seems like he's trying far too hard, and he's trying to smash a round peg into a square hole.
Yeah. Although in saying that, Scott, I wish there was more people in our team who I thought were trying too hard rather than not trying hard enough. But I get what you're saying. My point of view, Scott, personally, is I looked at it first. I thought, I have to say that shoulder to shoulder. It is. It's shoulder to shoulder. And I thought it was a goal. But then I looked at it more clearly, and I know the shoulder to shoulder rule is shoulder to shoulder is allowed. Shoulder to shoulder and then using your elbow or using your arm in any way is illegal. And the guy did. He did lift his elbow, lifted his arm and pushed Phil Jones away with his elbow and arm. So if we're going to use VAR, we also have to use the rule book. We can't just go, oh, well, that looks like it's not a foul, so we'll play on. The fact is it was a foul, Scott, you know? And I know you're giving a football opinion rather than a factual opinion, but it was a foul. He did use his arm, he did use his elbow. So technically it should have been disallowed. Instead, all that happens is Sheffield United get the joy ripped away from them, which happened twice in the game, and they still allow the goal.
Yeah, listen, I'm an advocate for VAR in the bigger picture, but I definitely think that there are some kinks that need to be ironed out right now.
Yeah. You're still an advocate, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Good on you. Blooming hell, you're persistent, aren't you?
In the long run, it's going to improve the game. We just need to figure out how to implement it the best way.
Yeah. I mean, my point of view is that goal line technology, I don't have a complaint about. You never hear me complain about that, do you? Because it's fantastic. It's great. Remember, that was the main thing we wanted sorted. I think everyone forgets that. We all said, look, if we can sort out those very, very rare occasions where the ball goes over the line, the ref doesn't give it, and we correct it, then we'll be happy. We sorted that out, but as usual with humans, we always have to go a bit further, don't we? And then we want to sort out the offside, and then we want to sort out this, that, and the other. And we'll talk about it later because we had another VAR goal right at the end, which was even more debatable. But yeah, we'll never know. We'll never know. We had the back pass rule changed, didn't we? And we all got used to that. So who knows how it will go. We conceded the second goal before half time as well. What do you make of that?
I can see it coming.
Yeah.
We just seem so vulnerable every time they have the ball.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like it was a matter of time before we conceded another.
It really was, wasn't it? As you said at the top of the show, Scott, I think I would have to agree that was the worst 70 minutes I've seen. It might be the worst 70 minutes I've ever seen United play. It honestly might be because we've been blessed with our ages that we've had decades of glory, haven't we? We have decades of teams that give their all every week and players who have got massive pride in their shirt and themselves. But that 70 minutes, I don't know. As I say, we've got recency bias, so maybe it's just because it happened last week, but it did seem like almost like a new low.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but it's true.
Yeah.
Look, the second half started more of the same, really. We didn't look like we were going to do what we did. As you say, 70 minutes, it was absolutely awful. Out of nowhere, your mate Brandon Williams, you've been flying the flag for this guy for months. So fair play, Scott. That half volley was out of this world, wasn't it? Dennis Irwin-esque.
Wonderful. You're absolutely right. Really reminded me of Dennis Irwin there.
It was superb, wasn't it? And then he G'd up the fans, and you knew we'd get a second. I didn't think it'd be so quick, but you knew we would get a second just because he grabbed that moment and he propelled us forward, which I thought was a great sign for the young lad.
Of course. And just a way for him to endear himself to the fans. And I think that the fans are so important in the development of a kid, and that if we get behind them, they can put a foot wrong here and there, and they're not judged so harshly as if we're not behind them as much as some players, you know?
Yeah, you are right, Scott. At the same time, you can be tough as nails like Darren Fletcher, and the people in the stadium can give you blooming dog's abuse for a couple of years, and you can still come through it as well. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. But you're right, Scott. it's much better when we support them.
Of course, it's sort of the look at the difference between Jesse Lingard and Marcus Rashford. How there are certain fans that just get on Jesse Lingard for absolutely everything, but Marcus Rashford can do the sort of same stuff, and no one really bats an eye.
Yeah, you're right in a way. I mean, obviously, a number of our fans do get on Rashford's back as well.
Mm-hmm.
We do have so many fans, though, Scott. You've got to bear in mind, you've got people, some we're putting inverted commas fans, probably watch one match in 4. They've got a rubbish life. They're miserable sods. And, every few weeks they slag some of our players off. And it can make the news, one United fan said this about Rashford, one United said this about Lingard. And they're not really fans. They're not fans like us and our listeners who watch every single game and blooming love it.
Mm-hmm.
So, with social media, even when it's extreme stuff, when it's like we've discussed before, the deplorable racism and stuff like that, you do have to bear in mind it's just a loser with a blooming phone or computer. It's not, we shouldn't make too big a deal out of it and give these people the strength to do it again, if you know what I mean. But there you go. Let's get back to the game. Brandon Williams obviously opened the floodgates. Mason Greenwood, absolutely gorgeous ball from Marcus Rashford, you have to say. Bent it in. It was just off the chain, and really, really, really accomplished finish from Mason Greenwood too.
He's getting better and better and more confident in front of goal, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I do wish, Scott, we had got the extra striker in the summer that we talked about, though, because it'd be so much better for Mason. At the moment, it's kind of like we have to bring Mason in when it suits us and when it suits him, instead of going, look, we're 2-0 up. Mason, come on, bag a brace, and everyone's happy. Instead, we kind of rely on him as well.
Yeah, that's not fair on the lad, but it seems like he's actually adapting to it more and more.
Yes, and out of all the youngsters, if there was one you thought could take that, you'd say it was Mason, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and you'd hope so too, given our lack of depth up front.
Yeah, absolutely. But like we said, Marcus Rashford provided Mason Greenwood's goal, and he scored the goal that put us ahead. Again, our little mate Daniel James, another assist, 3-2 up, and looked like we'd done the impossible.
Yeah, wonderful left-footed finish. It just seemed like United of old, right? That it was just out of absolutely nowhere. That we say earlier that it was the worst 70 minutes we've ever seen. We used to pull out some stinkers even under Fergie, but we'd turn it around. The first 85 odd minutes of the Champions League final in '99, we were nowhere. We were completely second to the party. And it's forgivable to start a game poorly if you can turn it around like that, right? But as soon as that third goal went in, I looked at the clock and I thought, God, we might have given them too much time here. The best, almost the best quality of the Fergie years was that we would usually score the winning goal with the last kick of the game, and the game would be over.
You're right. You're right to an extent, definitely. And I do agree. When I looked at the time as well, I thought, we got a bit too much time left here. But also, you have to say in the Fergie years, and look, we can't compare it to the best couple of decades in our history, but we wouldn't have drawn that game. We would have won it.
Yeah,
and that's,
of course.
That is, I know I was stating the obvious, but that is the case. And look, I have to say, when the third went in, 3-2 up, I thought fantastic. And then when we brought on Tuanzebe, I thought we are inviting them. We're inviting them onto us now. Look, I know we had loads of forwards on. At the same time, if he hadn't made a sub, maybe people would be, and we had conceded, people would be saying, why have you left 4 attackers on, you nutter? We're 3-2 up. But at the same time, Sheffield United, to my eyes, they looked dead and buried, and we gave them an opportunity to come back into the game. What do you think? Do you agree with that, or do you think I'm miscalculating then?
It's really difficult to analyse that because at Southampton earlier in the year, we were 1-0 up, and we should have brought on another midfielder for one of those forwards and to try to close up the game.
Yeah.
And, on Sunday we did that. Didn't work out anyway, but I think at the time it was the right call, I think, to bring off one of the four forwards, as you say, and to bring on a defensive-minded midfielder. Now, I don't really see Axel as being a defensive-minded midfielder as much as I see him as him being a centre-back who can sometimes play defensive midfielder. And I think the same sort of thing we were saying about Mason earlier is it's unfair to bring Axel on and be like, all right, just close up shop, be the filter between the midfield and the attack and the defence, and just go out there and wrap up the game for us. And I'm not saying he was necessarily at fault for their equaliser, but it's unfair to expect him to come on and play a role that he's not necessarily even earmarked for.
Yeah. Yeah, and unnecessary. You know, we had the personalities in the club in the summer, but got rid of them.
No, you're right about that. I remember saying that we were going to be sat here saying, "What have we done? Have we not? Have we not seen this coming?" And if it's just you and I predicting this, that's the worst part, right? That there's no one who's even close to the person making the decisions who could see this coming.
I know, it's crazy. I mean, look, to me, I get what you're saying about Southampton. I get you saying we were 1-0 up and, you know, we didn't make the move and we paid for it.
Yeah.
But, mate, we had scored 3 goals in 7 minutes. It's not the same as being 1-0 up. You have to smell the game. You have to sense the game. And look, it's not just me saying it. Phil Jagielka, after the game, said, that's the first time this season we've been rattled. That's the first time this season our heads had gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought at the time, I thought we had them dead and buried. And I'm sure that move, it allowed them 5 minutes rest, first of all. It allowed them to be like, right, well, United aren't coming at us anymore. So, okay, calm down. And then, as we know, they scored deep into stoppage time.
Yeah.
Let's touch on that now. It came in, controlled. From the first view, from the first look, your instinct, Scott, what did you think? Did you think it was handball or not? Because I thought handball.
I did.
The way the arm went up,
Yeah.
I thought, there's no way that ball's fallen with gravity. Something's touched it, and it's not anything but an arm.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Went up to VAR. First of all, let's touch on this first. Dave should have saved it anyway, right?
Yeah.
It was awful keeping. Let's first of all,
the guy should have been closed down as well. He's got all that time in the middle of the box.
Yeah, he should have. But first of all, let's hit on whether Dave should have saved it or not. Look, earlier in the game, Dave had a great double save, one down to his right and a close range header, like the old days, I must say, an instinctive save. So he did have a really, really good double save. That was very important at the time, but he should have kept that out. He's touched it, a good 3 or 4 meters away from the post, and it's gone in the top corner. Top class keeper should be saving that, I think.
Yeah, it was one of those that he would have easily saved a year ago. Easily.
I think so. Oh, well, yeah, a year and a half ago, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it went up to VAR. They had a good old look at it. Now, come on, Scott. Where did that ball hit him?
It was a handball, TC. If that was in the Champions League final, it would have been given a penalty.
Well, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was. Now, listen. Anyone who disagrees, you can just go to 2 pictures. It's quite simple. Just go to the Sterling goal disallowed on the Saturday and look where VAR draws the line along his shoulder. So VAR are telling us where the shoulder finishes and where the arm starts because they draw the line on the offsides, don't they?
Yeah.
So you just take that line, you see where it is on the shoulder, then you draw that line on the Sheffield United guy, and it's obviously handball. It's so obvious. And look, the day before Liverpool, they have a goal disallowed. What was it? A push on Lovren, was it?
I think so, yeah.
And he was never getting anywhere near the ball. Now, look, if we want to go back on every single goal and try and find a fault on it, we can. We can find some kind of infringement, but we can probably find one both ways. We can probably find one the attacking team doing it on the defence and one the defensive team doing it on the attack. So what do we do? It just seems bizarre to me that what we were looking for with VAR was consistency, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We were looking to say, look, if that's a handball in that game, it's a handball in every game, and then it's a fair playing field. Instead, what we've got is one ref giving an opinion on the field, and then a different ref giving an opinion up in an office, and then getting a sort of conglomeration of the two, which is not really satisfying anyone, I don't think.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of at the beginning of every season, they say, right, this season we're going to completely clamp down on shenanigans go on during corners, and anyone who's got anyone's shirt or anyone who's deflecting anyone or hindering their chance is going to be given a penalty or a free kick, and they uphold that for like a month.
Yeah.
And then it just gets forgotten about again.
Yeah, you're so right. We had one season, I'm not sure if people remember this, we had one season where the Premier League said, don't kick the ball out anymore, remember? They said, don't kick that, and then Fergie, and then they didn't stand by it, and then Fergie said to everybody, he says, we're not going to kick the ball out anymore. Just so everybody knows, we're not going to kick the ball out anymore. But it didn't last, did it? Because what happened is when an opposition player got injured and the boos got so loud, one of our players would cave in, and then it went back to normal.
I know that they want to try and get all these decisions correct, but it seems like they're making the decision based on what would be most beneficial for the game, right? And not what's the best call. In other words, like the end of that game, 93rd minute, Sheffield United been 2-0 up. We came back to 3-2. They got this decision that if they go one way, it's a draw. Everyone goes home with a point. Everyone's sort of happy, or they can say it isn't a goal, and this fight back that was on the cards, this entertainment, this drama, is off the table. And it seems like that they're making these decisions based on what is the most dramatic and most beneficial for the overall bigger picture of the game.
You know what, Scott? We normally disagree on VAR, don't we?
Yeah.
I'm in one camp, you're in the other, but I think that's probably the best view on VAR I've heard for a long time.
Oh, good.
You're absolutely, that's exactly right. That's exactly what they're doing. 100% in terms of the title race, all kinds of things. They now have the opportunity to manage a game, which repulses me. It absolutely repulses. It repulses me more than Mike Dean's golf swing, which I know you saw the other day. But honestly, that's spot on. I don't need to add anything to that. Bang on. Look, so 3-3 away to Sheffield United. That's not good enough, is it? Really not good enough.
No.
Especially after coming back.
But you know what? 2-0 would have been so much worse, and I really do think that might have been the final nail in Ollie's coffin.
Yeah, it might well have been. I don't know. I honestly don't know what his status is at the club at the moment.
How did you feel about Ollie's reaction at the final whistle?
I was displeased with it, actually, if I'm honest. I think I love a good sportsman, but I love a winner too. Often, you don't find two rolled into one.
Yeah.
Now, look, if that had been Fergie, if we'd come back and we'd been 3-2 up, and then we conceded a goal in the 90-whatever minute, 93rd minute, 3-3, VAR had come in. Fergie's got VAR now. It's obviously hit his hand. Fergie's shaking Wilder's hand, but he's hardly touching it. But the moment his hands touch Wilder's, it's gone and Fergie's off.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a glass of wine with Wilder later and say, well done, son. But he's storming off. He's furious, and he's speaking down the microphone. He's spitting down the microphone. He's not speaking down the microphone. So, if we're going to compare, if we're always going to go, well, we gave Fergie time, so we have to give Ollie time, then we also have to say, well, Fergie didn't react like this, so why is Ollie not? If we're always going to do that. So, no, I wasn't happy about it at all. I thought it was rubbish. I don't think I wasn't smiling, and I don't think I could have smiled at the end of that game. So, I don't think it was the time to smile.
At half-time, he must have thought, if we don't turn this round, I'm going to be picking up my P45 on Monday.
Yeah. And look, like I've said again and again, I'll say it again, I understand the difficulties with Ollie at the moment and with the board and everything like that. And I understand the difficulties in him being a massive club legend as well. As I've said before, he'll always be a legend in my eyes. Nothing's ever going to take away the stuff he's done for us. And also the fact that he stepped in and took over as caretaker when we were in the doldrums as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we did have a few months, which I'll always remember fondly. But at the same time, at the moment, it's not right at the United. It's not.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Look, we went away from that 3-3. We knew we were going to go to Astana over in Kazakhstan, and we knew we were going to play a load of youngsters. We're already qualified. And we did play a load of youngsters. What did you make of it? I mean, it was one of those games where the result's not massively important. But what you don't want to do with youngsters is keep putting them into the team and keep letting them experience losses. So what did you make of it overall, the Thursday night trip?
I thought they did pretty well. Everyone on paper, it's difficult when you just sort of thrust into the action like that. The youngest team we've ever put out in Europe. I think they did pretty well. I think Levitt and Garner were really good in the middle.
Yeah.
Angel Gomez on the left was fantastic. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, if Tahith Chong had stuck that chance in, we probably would have left there with a win, and everyone would have been complete smiles.
It was such a shame, wasn't it? Anyone who didn't see it, Tahith Chong missed an absolute sitter. What was it? Angel Gomez, Angel Gomez. God, I say it wrong every time, don't I?
Yeah.
Threaded it through to Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The way he pushed Shaw into the right position, it was fantastic. Yeah. And the shame of it all was Chong could have taken a touch, couldn't he?
Yeah, he was acres of space, didn't he?
Yeah. You know what? Can I just say, Tahith Chong, I know you're a big fan of his. I was too, and I still am. But I definitely noticed he seems to have lost a bit of confidence.
Yeah.
Do you see that as well?
I think it could be coming up to the first team, sitting on the bench, then going back down, and the yo-yo effect of going between the two could have something. I mean, he just got selected for the Netherlands first team squad,
Yeah.
so he's got some good things going on. He just can't seem to catch a break, can he?
No, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because as I say, I really rate the lad. I love his energy, but he just seems to have been, and with youngsters, and this is why Fergie used to back in the day play a youngster sort of 4 or 5 games, and you think, God, he's here to stay, and then it'd disappear for a couple of months, and you think, what happened to that youngster?
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple of months later, he'd be back in the team again.
Yeah,
Yes, because Fergie had this magic way of making everyone feel on top of the world. But I'm hoping that Chong will bounce back because I think he really is one who could make it. The couple of names you mentioned there, obviously Brandon Williams, we've been talking about a lot. Dylan Levett as well. There's another one you flagged up.
he's had some fantastic displays in the under-23s this year, and seems like a really nice cultured midfielder. But of all of them, it seems like now you sort of look at Mason and you think he's pretty much first team squad now, so he's not really a youngster.
Yeah.
And he's bypassed the likes of Chong and Gomez.
Oh, he has.
But I really hope Gomez is given a chance to do something in the first team, because I just think his intricacy and his ball control in the middle is something, and his creativity is something that we really, really need in our midfield.
Yeah, and he seems like a really, really unique player as well. To me, he seems special. I really do think that he is one that we should look after, and he hasn't got so long left on his contract, right? Am I right in thinking that?
He doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Up in the summer?
It might be. So something needs to happen. As with Chong as well, his contract's up in the end of the summer as well. He's going to walk off, similar to what happened to Paul Pogba.
Yeah, exactly. Lingard captained the side. Jesse Lingard. What do you make of that? He was obviously the most experienced player in the lineup. He does get a lot of stick, as you mentioned before, for this, that, and the other. Look, you and me know full well, if you support United from when you're a young lad, we've all made mistakes in life. But to captain the club after supporting them and wearing, you see him in the 95 shirt when he was a little nipper, must have been magic for him.
Yeah, I have no problems with him captaining that squad. No problem at all.
And he rubber stamped that with a goal after 10 minutes, an absolute banger as well, as usual.
Yeah. It was his first goal for almost a year. I can't believe it. And for someone who can bang him in like that, he really should be pitching in with 10 plus goals a year, shouldn't he?
He really should. And he did. He did for a while.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we were pegged back. Shanko on 55 and then Bernard own goal on 62. Wasn't his fault at all. Really close range.
It wasn't. And he actually played really well as well.
He did. I'm not going to dig him out at all. But 2-1 loss in Astana leaves us really needing to win a last game to top the group, probably.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Really, in the Europa League, doesn't matter too much either way, does it? Top the group, second in the group, it'll be fine. You never really know who you bump into anyway in the Europa League, do you?
No, but the next round, you're getting all the third place teams from the Champions League, right? So you don't really want to play them.
You know what, Scott? Really, we're better against good teams, aren't we?
Yeah, you might be right.
I mean, we beat Chelsea twice. We drew with Liverpool. Liverpool haven't dropped points against anyone this season. And then, against Brighton or Sheffield United or Astana, we're rubbish.
Yeah, it could have been so different,
true,
right?
Come on.
Chongi sticks that in, and we probably would have gone on and got a third. And
you're right, but look, I think you're still stuck in the Fergie years. It's all very well said. Oh, if we just, but it's every game. If only that had happened. Yeah. But if it doesn't, there's probably a reason for it.
So what do we do? So this week, Tottenham and Arsenal have just sacked their managers.
Yeah,
our old mate Jose Mourinho is in the hot seat at Tottenham. Something which is a recipe for disaster with him and Levy, if you ask me.
Okay, I'll ask you. Okay, let's start. Right, manager merry-go-round. Here we go. So Tottenham sacked Pochettino, hired Mourinho the day later. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you honestly, Scott? What did you think? I'll tell you my opinion after. Did their chances in that 24-hour period of winning the league or a cup or something go up or down? In your opinion?
This season, up, yeah.
See, this is what I think, Scott. I think I really think, look, it's all cycles. Mourinho, when he left us, he had to go. He was playing Herrera in defence. Yeah. He was playing Scott McTominay in defence. He was taking the mick. He was taking the mick out of the badge. We couldn't have it anymore.
The same thing with Pochettino. The last few months at Tottenham, he's been stinking the place out so bad, he's had to go as well.
Yep.
I think it happens with these managers on these massive contracts that instead of quitting when they want to go and leaving with nothing, they, as you say, stink the place out until they get sacked, and then they leave with. I mean, Pochettino just left with £18 million.
Yeah, burn the house down, get the insurance, right?
Yeah,
100%. No,
yes, and that's the same thing Mourinho did with us.
Yeah.
He's the same thing he did with Chelsea twice.
Yeah, I totally agree, Scott. I totally agree. But we're in a situation now. So Spurs sat their manager. Luckily for us, they employed someone who is of no interest to us anymore, Mourinho.
Yeah.
So therefore, that was a free hit for us. Arsenal today have sacked Unai Emery. He's gone. Freddie Ljungberg in temporary charge. Let's hope he does as well as Ollie and gets the full-time job. So they're talking about Ljungberg. They're talking about Arteta. They're talking about Patrick Vieira. They're also talking about Brendan Rodgers. They're also talking about Massimiliano Allegri. And they're also talking about Maurizio Pochettino as well at Arsenal. Now, in my mind, any of the last three, not the Arsenal old boys, Arteta, Ljungberg and Vieira, any of the last three, and Arsenal will also have an upgrade. They'll get the new manager bounce. It's not good for us.
I don't see Pochettino going to Arsenal. I think he's got other much bigger jobs that won in Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and probably us to a certain extent. Rodgers isn't leaving for Arsenal, so you can forget that one too. Allegri, perhaps, but I don't know whether he would go or not. But as soon as Pochettino got fired, all I thought was a couple of bad results and he's going to be our next manager, and it's going to happen like that.
Do you really think so?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
And what do you think of that, Pochettino as our manager?
I think it would be risky. I think he's definitely got some talent. He hasn't won it. He's never won anything. You know, so let's say that first and foremost.
I know.
And he doesn't have United running through his blood like Ole Solskjaer does. But he does, it's clear to see he does have some sort of talent with man management, as Mourinho did. But would he be able to do the job, or will the job completely eat him alive? Who knows? I don't.
Scott, I totally agree with you. I think it's a massive risk. And I do agree with you in terms of he hasn't won anything, so he doesn't have that much credit in the bank. And United's a massive, massive club. You know, world-class players come to United and they can't hack it.
Yeah.
You know, like Madrid's player of the season, Di Maria comes, it can't hack it. You just can't do it. Some players can't do it at United. Some managers can't do it at United. It's a monster club. Like you say, Scott, he doesn't have United running through his veins like Ollie does. But you know what, Scott? I have to say it. Our two most successful managers in our history didn't have United running through their veins when they entered the doors of Old Trafford.
That's true.
Sir Matt Busby, I don't know if people know, played for Manchester City for 8 years and then went to play for Liverpool for 5 years before going up to Scotland as a guest player for a couple of years and then coming to manage United. So he had no United DNA, no United blood running through his veins whatsoever. In fact, he had City and Liverpool blood, or whatever you want to call it. And Sir Alex Ferguson, when he arrived, he had no ties to Manchester United whatsoever. In his book, he says he was a massive admirer of Liverpool. So, look, of course, you want your blooming someone from inside the club to take United back to the top. But are we putting too much credence on that, of this United running through your veins thing? Because if you want someone with United running through your veins, I'm up for the job.
Yeah.
But like we discussed earlier, you said, I said to you, we were having a little chat, and I said, look, obviously the ultimate would be Ollie leads us back to the top. And I went through the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, it was so funny. You said exactly what I was thinking in the back of my head. Because when I said Ollie winning it would be the ultimate, you then said, no, not the ultimate would be you winning it as United. Like, we all dream of it, don't we? We all dream of managing United, playing up front for United. That's the ultimate. And you said to me, is our support, a blind support at times of Ollie, an extension of that?
Yeah.
Is that almost, it's like we see us in him and we say, oh, well, that's almost like us managing United. So if we won, that's almost like us winning it.
Yeah.
Is it some bizarre mental gymnastics that we're playing at the time? I don't know. And look, I've said it once and I say it again and I say it 100 times. I bloody love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Nothing's going to change what he's done for us as a club. But we do want the good days back. I don't want to be blooming laughing and smiling and joking after drawing 3-3 at Sheffield United in the last minute.
Yeah, it stinks.
But also I don't want to throw Ollie under the bus. So it's a tricky time for us, isn't it?
It is.
It is. So what do you reckon? You know, we got so who do you think Arsenal will get in if you had to put your money on it? Who do you think will go through the door at Arsenal?
I think Ljungberg's got a pretty good chance, as does
Yeah, he's 13-8.
Arteta. I'd love Paul Merson to be given the job myself, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh, wouldn't it be brilliant? Unfortunately, I think we've probably put Arsenal off putting in Arteta, Ljungberg or Vieira. I've got a really bad feeling they're going to get Max Allegri in.
You think so?
Unfortunately, I think they are. Allegri, with Brendan Rodgers a massive outside shot, but I actually disagree with you. I think if he is offered the job, he'll do the bad one on Leicester, no problems. He did at Celtic, didn't he? He was with Celtic. He just had to stay a few more months to win the treble up there or something like that.
Yeah, he loves a good payoff. He loves a good envelope full of cash, and he's yours, no matter where you are.
The only problem is if he went to Arsenal, what's he going to say in his after-match interviews? Because they definitely ain't got no character.
Yeah, we've got some bad characters.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, let's leave the managers for a while anyway. We're going for hours today. Yeah. Loads to talk about. Just quickly, there were shirt sponsor rumours that Haier, the Chinese company that owns Hoover, was going to usurp Chevrolet and pay us about 15 million more a year as our shirt sponsors. It's been denied.
It didn't take long, did it?
It didn't take long. It has been denied by Haier. So I don't know if it's a leak from us or not. But yeah, that was a rumour doing the rounds, obviously sort of signalling that United aren't losing their power in the financial world. But again, it might be a leak from within the club.
I prefer a league position to get higher, if you ask me.
Yes, absolutely. And with the January transfer window opening in just a month, Scott, the rumours have started. And obviously, we have a chance to improve our league position. Now, I heard a rumour going through the papers saying that Brandon Williams is now apparently first choice left back and Luke Shaw's second choice. And now we've shelved plans to buy a new fullback. The plans originally apparently were to buy a new fullback or left back, I suppose.
Something tells me that infuriates you.
It does infuriate me, Scott, because, it's the same with Mason Greenwood, right? We didn't buy a striker because we had Mason Greenwood, but now we know that we have to look after youngsters. We have to, bed them in slowly, give them time. Ollie said it. I can't play Mason Greenwood every week. Well, hang about, mate. You said we're relying on him in the summer, and that's why you sold Lukaku. So you can't have it both ways. Brandon Williams, I know full well, is going to have a dip in form. I'm totally comfortable with it. But if Ollie thought that Shaw needed replacing, then he should still be replaced.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting because I think that there's a lot more important positions that we need to get players into than left back. I think that Brandon Williams is
100%, Scott. Look, Scott, I totally agree with you. I don't think we should have been looking for a left back in the first place. But if we were...
I thought we were looking for everything.
No, what I'm saying is that if we were looking for a left back, if 1 month ago Ollie said we definitely need a left back, then Brandon Williams playing brilliantly has not changed that. We know Brandon Williams is great. We've been watching him for however long. We know we've been talking about it.
Yeah, but there's been great, and then there's been able to make the grade immediately.
Exactly. And he's not. And we shouldn't. It's not fair on Williams.
Yeah.
It's not fair on him, I don't think. It's not fair on him. It's all very well saying, play the youngsters, play the youngsters, play the youngsters. But at the same time, you have to look after the youngsters too. So, yeah, I don't buy that necessarily. Paul Pogba. We haven't chatted about him for a while, have we?
Yeah, it's been lovely.
Still basically on holiday, a bit like you, Scott. He's just off on holiday. He was playing basketball the other day as well.
Yeah.
Spinning around on his ankle.
He took his cast off to play basketball, did he?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It was funny. I was speaking to someone and they said, well, he's injured. He's got a cast on. I said, I could put a cast around my neck. Doesn't mean I've broken my neck.
Exactly. 100%. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah. It's like the old benefit grabbers, isn't it? You just stick on a neck brace and you're fine, right? But look, we said it in the summer. We said that if we kept him, then it's just going to be a disaster after disaster. I think I even said he'll pull an injury. Look, is he off in January or what, Scott?
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah. Juventus, Real Madrid.
It's funny. After all the flack I've given you about Gareth Bale, I would swap him for Gareth Bale tomorrow.
Bloody hell, you having a laugh?
You know what? I just want something back that we can use on the pitch. We can't use 100 million quid on the pitch. We can't use, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know.
So I can't stand this. Oh yeah, we get 75 million quid for Lukaku, but then do what? We don't do anything with it.
I know. And
You know?
Lukaku's banging them in as well.
And now it's even worse, as we're just giving players away on loan and not even doing player exchanges on them.
I know. And look, let's not mess around. Lukaku's banging them in for Inter. And, you know,
Yeah.
I know some people say, yeah, but it's the Italian league. No problems. It's the Italian league. But the top scorer in the Italian league's got 15 goals, right? Top scorer in the Premier League's got about 12. The second top scorer in the Italian league's got 10. It's Lukaku, all right? The second top scorer in the Premier League's got about 10 too. The third top scorer in the Serie A's got about 7. And if you say, yeah, well, it's a crap league, no problems. Yeah, that's fine. But Cristiano Ronaldo's got 5. Higuain's got 5. And Lukaku's got 10. So, you know, and he's banging the assists in as well. So
I was reading a week ago that we were looking into Lautaro Martinez, plays for Inter Milan, 108 million pounds.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, if they wanted Sanchez so much in the summer, why wouldn't we just do some sort of player swap and try and do something with that, right? But
and Lukaku's outshining Lautaro anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, totally outshining him,
Yeah.
like by miles. Another rumor I know that you're well on is Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, I think he's. I just think he's world class talent, and it's either going to be us, City, or Liverpool who can afford him, or Chelsea probably.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see him go to the others.
No, we obviously don't. He did get subbed after about half an hour the other day. Attitude, head and not in the right place.
Yeah.
But for me, Scott, I'm quite aware of our position in world football at the moment. And I understand in the Fergie years when people said, oh, that's not the right type of character to come to Manchester United. I understood, because we were always winning the Premier League. We're always competing for the Champions League. We're always competing for cups, and we're always playing top whack too. So if someone doesn't want to come, you go, yeah, he's probably a bad egg. You know, he wants an easy ride. I get that. But now, when people say, oh, well, he doesn't really want to come to United, the top players in the world, I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but they don't want to come to United. They don't.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is we have to entice them in a way that is abnormal and then prove to them that we're the right option. And the way you do that is by basically selling a project and selling and giving them money. Just like Manchester City did. Vincent Kompany, David Silva, Sergio Aguero. The only reason they went to City was for the money and for the project promised. If the project hadn't worked out, they would have just left. It would have been fine, and they cashed their checks. As it happens, if I ask you, Scott, do you think that Kompany, Silva and Aguero have been mercenaries or fantastic servants and good blokes for City? I hate all of them. What would you say?
Yeah.
They have been, haven't they?
Yeah.
But why did they go there? For the money.
Yeah.
So, look, we're in a position we don't like to be in, but Jadon Sancho, he's the perfect player for us. There's problems, so, you know, teams at the very, very top might say, well, he's a bit of a bad egg. We get him over, and we prove to him that we're just like we did with Eric Cantona.
Yeah.
We hadn't won the title for blooming 26 years, and we persuaded Cantona to come over, and we said, listen, mate, don't worry about your past. We're different. We're like you. We're mental and blooming magic too. Come over to us and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
And obviously Cantona saw that it was true. If Cantona had come and we hadn't been winning, then it would have been a different story. So yeah, I do agree. We have to understand that we need to entice players with money and then prove to them that the fans and the club are amazing and they fall in love.
Yeah, I would agree with you with that.
So we got Erling Haaland as well. He's a massive name that keeps on popping up. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer managed him at Molde, obviously a Norwegian as well. They've got a really close relationship. Apparently, Alf Inge Haaland was at the Manchester United training ground, Carrington, the Aon complex the other day. Do you think that's a goer?
He was also on Arsenal.
Yes, he was. What do you make of the rumours?
On spending £100 million or £89 million on a 19-year-old whose dad played for City and Leeds.
Well, the big thing about Haaland, I don't know, but he has already in the past expressed his hatred for Manchester United.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And he's also said his dream is to win the league with Leeds. Let's not forget also that, you know, his dad got ended by Roy Keane as well. It's not like it's like some bit part player who's never had a history with United. There's a proper history there. Alf Inge Haaland played for blooming Leeds and City, the worst two, pretty much, apart from Liverpool. And our skipper and our legend smashed him up and basically broke his knee in half. So there's a bit more to that. What I wouldn't like to do is to be used by him for a couple of years and then him swan off and say he hates us anyway.
I kind of see that happening.
Do you?
Let him go.
Were you going to say let him go to Leeds?
No, I was going to say let him go to Barcelona or Madrid.
Don't let him go to Leeds. Definitely
let
not.
Him go to Leeds,
yeah. Leeds. Anything else in the January transfer window? Are we not going to sign a midfielder, or is that for sort of...
I honestly don't know. I really don't know.
It's like the never-ending story, isn't it?
You'd think so, but now I think Matic might go to Tottenham and reunite with his old pal,
yes.
And maybe we'd have to replace him. I don't know.
The funny thing is, Scott, as a United fan, he's had his head deep in the club for blooming years. We've been looking for a new midfielder since Keane left, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
Yeah.
And I know our standards have changed throughout the years, but really, back, we moaned for years. We're winning titles, winning doubles, and we're still like, oh yeah, but we need a new midfield. We need to brush up that midfield. And we've been saying it for years, and now we really blooming do need a midfield. I mean, we were saying we need a new midfield when we had Carrick, Scholes and Hargreaves half the time. Unbelievable.
Yeah, but I think that now that Paul Pogba's just not playing for us anymore, the emergence of McTominay and even Fred, it's not a pressing issue right now. I'd much prefer to get a number 10 or a striker or a right winger in.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to also think that Pogba's going to be leaving as well, so we're going to have to replace him.
Yeah, this is the crazy thing, Scott. I mean, it looks like we've got so many positions to fill. I can't believe we didn't get one or two more in the summer. It just makes the next window so much easier because now every time we don't get a couple of players that we needed, we need another couple the next window. And it's, and I think that's our problem. We're always a little bit short. Like I said in the summer, I said it's like we've done last summer's transfer window this summer. We bought the centre back and the right back we needed, right, Maguire and Wan-Bissaka and a winger. But then next summer we're going to do this summer's transfer window.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah,
it really is. So we're off to Aston Villa on Sunday, 4:30. Looks like Scott McTominay's got a chance of returning. Hopefully we go back to the three-man midfield, Scott.
Yeah, I'd hope so.
You would like to have thought so. Paul Pogba's back on English soil, which is nice to know, seeing as we're paying all his wages.
Yeah, great.
And we got our November Player of the Month awards in. We got Greenwood, Brandon Williams or Marcus Rashford up for the award. So all Academy graduates. Who would you have winning that? Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams or Marcus Rashford?
Probably Rashford. What, he's got 11 goals in 12 appearances.
I think so. I think in terms of performances, Rashford is definitely taking it up a level. You have to say Brandon Williams is taking his chance fantastically.
Yeah, I saw it coming, didn't I?
Of course you did. And Mason Greenwood as well. Hasn't done enough to win the Player of the Month award though, has he?
No, but he's been really solid. And I think a couple more months and he can start, hopefully, starting and influencing games from the start.
Yes. Yeah. And look, I would rather us take it easy with Greenwood. We're not going for the title. We're not going for the Champions League. So I'd rather us look after him than ruin him for the sake of a point or two here or there.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening again, Reds. Remember to subscribe, like, 5-star review, get in touch with us on Instagram. Thanks for joining me again, Scott. Good to have you back.
Thank you, TC. Nice to hear from you too.
Cheers, Reds. See you on Monday.
Ta-ra.